So thank you for sharing tonight.
Yep. Thank you, Jan, for inviting me to come along, and hopefully this will be helpful. Cameron's vision statement is a written document, I guess, that summarises life goals that are important to him. It highlights his needs, his wants and his dreams. The content and style I've chosen suits him. Yep. Oh, there he is. Cameron. The content and style I've chosen suits us, but of course visions vary. It could be one sentence, a paragraph, one or many pages, a dot point or an essay, contain drawings or photos. Every vision I have seen is different, and each one reminds me that Cameron and people with disabilities are individuals. The challenges of daily life are never ending, and I tend to forget about the future, let alone plan for it. Cameron's vision functions like a compass, sheds light on the best way forward, helps us avoid problems and deal with setbacks. Cameron's vision statement helps me stay on track when others suggest a different path would be easier, better or safer. I'm aware that if we don't have a vision for Cameron, other people or service providers will create a vision for him, whether we like it or not. It doesn't really matter if you don't have a clear idea what the future will look like before you start. We certainly didn't. The vision sort of came into focus along the way. Writing our ideas down helped clarify our thoughts, which then naturally evolved into a sort of goals and a plan. We're surrounded by needs assessments and therapies which focus on weaknesses and deficits. And one of my fears is that I will unconsciously limit Cameron's options by setting expectations too low for him. And I'm really hopeful that a vision will stop this from happening. I guess if we aim for the sky, you only get halfway there. It doesn't really matter, that's fine. But the halfway is a good distance up off the ground. You can see a lot from up there. This is, I guess, the way I approached writing vision with Cameron. And there are many other ways of doing that. To start with, I read several very different vision statements, and you've got 5 examples in your pack, including Cameron's. I pulled out all the points that resonated with me from all of them and wrote them down. And this was a fairly slow, daunting process that I fitted in around other commitments. I needed to allow myself time to process a lot of new information, chat with Cameron, and contemplate what was most important to him and to us as a family. Eventually I knew one page of dot points was going to work best for us, and it was then a matter of whittling down and refining points and converting the words of others into points of my own, just reframing the language in words that I felt comfortable using. I frequently referred to the thesaurus and the dictionary during this process. I wanted to make sure I fully understood the words I was using and understood exactly what a good life would look like for Cameron. All the time I kept referring back to Cameron's strengths, interests and things that make him happy. I found it useful to show early drafts of the vision to family. I found they didn't understand some of the terms I was using and didn't understand some of the details I was trying to convey. For example, we had conversations around whether the word normal, regular or typical most effectively communicated the point I wanted to make. We also talked about the word peers and whether that meant someone of the same chronological age or someone who has the same disability. At this point, I found I'd become so involved in the creation of the vision, it was hard to step back and see what I had written with fresh eyes. After talking to family, I did some fairly serious rewriting and making sure I used simple language and phrases. These conversations with my family helped them to feel included and up to date with our latest thinking. Rushing from one appointment to the next, I tend to forget to include our family in thought processes. It was good to talk to them about Cameron in a positive context when there was no particular problem looming. I found these conversations have made my family more creative in how they interact with Cameron. My sister is currently organising for Cameron and herself to deliver the intermittent in her street. This is Burra and Urila's small community newsletter that's delivered by volunteers. And Cameron and Tanya will have fun meeting and interacting with her neighbours. It's probably, I showed a later draft of the vision to mentors for additional feedback, and we talked through, again, problem words which may have multiple meanings and the potential for being misunderstood. The word inclusion can mean different things to different people. Could mean congregated groups in mainstream settings or individuals in mainstream settings. These conversations made me aware that people reading Cameron's vision might have no experience with disability and possibly very different expectations of what his life could be. I needed to be absolutely confident that what I was conveying exactly what I wanted to with minimal room for misunderstanding. We also talked about how to make each point as succinct as possible within one line. This was a self-imposed constraint. I do like to keep my sentences to one line. Keeping employment to one line was a real challenge. We then spent some time trying to organise the points into some sort of meaningful order and identify appropriate headings. Cameron's vision has two distinct sections. The first part's key qualities of Cameron's good life, but it doesn't necessarily go into detail about what that will look like. I guess it outlines our philosophical approach to achieving Cameron's good life. And I have separated this section into two groups. The first group is more about the nature of support and the community he will need to create a good life. And the second group, in the middle there, focuses more on qualities that impact on his sense of self and control over his own life. Where possible, we have involved Cameron in the vision creation process. He has limited spontaneous language, and this has meant slowing down to give him time and space he needs to make his contribution. We started with very simple big picture questions and were surprised to find he had firm opinions on topics not previously discussed with him. The second section, titled My Vision, is where I'm trying to capture Cameron's hopes and aspirations in his own words. For example, he wants to live in a big home in Curtin. This was a surprise to me. To be certain he was articulating a firm preference, I asked the same questions again on different days and in different ways. Cameron's capacity to communicate his wants and needs varies from day to day, and it's great to have a written record of our important conversations. This vision is not a static document and will evolve over time. I'm currently contemplating adding a point around regular dinners out with friends, combining Cameron's love of companionship and food. He regularly asks to go out to specific restaurants, and I plan to expand this conversation further to explore his preferences. Over time, I hope to broaden the My Vision section into a separate document that creates a clear picture of Cameron's hopes and dreams. Developing Cameron's vision statement has significantly changed how our family thinks, not only about Cameron's future, but his daily life as well. It's easy to get caught up in the challenges of daily life with a young person with disability, and we now have a document we can refer to when we're feeling overwhelmed, faced with difficult choices, or not sure which of the many tasks clamouring for attention to tackle next. The vision statement provides clarity and helps our family spend precious time and energy and resources more effectively and efficiently on those goals most important to Cameron. It's very easy to double up on tasks or work on goals that pull in different directions. This vision statement means that I'm now much less focused on therapy programs. And here I do have to acknowledge that Cameron is 18 years old and has had many years of intensive therapy. It's been hard to move away from this safe and supported world. The vision statement has helped us make the important transition to creating an adult life for Cameron. In fact, had the vision been in place earlier, I suspect we would have moved on from therapy sooner, freeing much needed family time and energy for other things. As a direct result of Cameron's vision, I'm now trying to achieve a balance between paid and unpaid supports. These supports are therapy, community, vocational and recreational activities. All paid supports are working towards increasing Cameron's natural community networks, especially around recreation and employment. This requires careful and creative thinking, and our vision makes this easier than I expected. Cameron has been a member of the Capital Lakes Rowing Club for 4 years. There is no place he would rather be than up early rowing on Lake Burley Griffin on a still morning. Learning to row has been a slow process, but our patience and persistence is starting to pay off. He's now transitioning to a single scull, which is the same boat the other juniors and masters row. After sharing Cameron's vision with his rowing coach, he suggested Cameron come down to the clubhouse and help with loading the boats and equipment onto trailers on Friday nights before regattas. Cameron is seen as making a valued contribution by the other juniors, and conversations around de-rigging sculls and loading everything onto the trailer is a safe and easy way to start interacting with Cameron. Boat handling skills Cameron has gained on Friday nights have been put to good use during work experience at the YMCA Paddle Hub. We are pleased that the YMCA has invited Cameron back next spring and are hoping this will develop into some part-time paid employment. Coach has also been helping me look for a young adult male to become a rowing mentor for Cameron. Most 18-year-old boys do not spend most of their time with their mothers. A young rowing mentor will help Cameron develop his skills as a rower and be better placed to deepen Cameron's relationships at Capital Lakes Rowing Club. Employing mentors rather than support workers is another direct outcome of Cameron's vision statement. It will take some time to organise these mentors, but I'm confident it will lead to a much better outcome for Cameron in the long term. And that's Cameron at the YMCA. After they've got the paddlers out on the water, they go out and they just follow up and check everyone's okay and headed off in the direction where they said they would, and no one's in trouble. Cameron is in his final year at school, and we are very focused on finding him meaningful employment next year. We have no idea what that's going to look like. However, having had a vision statement in place for 2 years, the last 2 years has helped us discount many options commonly offered to young people with disability, as they will detract from Cameron's ability to achieve a good life. The vision has helped us plot a way forward that is most likely to generate meaningful employment for Cameron. It won't be quick or easy or fit neatly into the current NDIS funding framework. The vision, I guess, has made us more self-reliant and aware that the NDIS is not a panacea, but a mechanism that can only help achieve some aspects of a good life. Due to our employment focus, other aspects of Cameron's vision are very much in the background, but I am aware they are there and they're important. Should I hear of something interesting, I can refocus my energy as required. Opportunities can be rare for people with disability and unfortunately easily overlooked. A vision helps us to identify opportunities when they arise and gives us confidence to act. This vision statement gives us an assurance that Cameron's family and close friends understand his preferences and priorities, and that we're all moving in the same direction. One of several tools I'm developing to safeguard my son's good life, should I become ill or fall under a bus tomorrow. Death is an inevitable fact of life. However, I hope I won't die for a long time. Succession planning is an overwhelming topic, and I'm treating writing down and sharing Cameron's vision with the people in his life as a small first step. This vision statement is the first document I give to potential paid support to start a conversation about working with or on behalf of Cameron. All my NDIS service agreements stipulate anyone working with or on behalf of Cameron must read the vision before commencing employment. People's responses to your vision is a great litmus test for how helpful they will be and allows you to clearly identify which support workers, service providers or schools are going to work productively alongside you. The process of writing the vision has clarified my thoughts and has made me a more passionate and effective advocate for my son. Even when I don't have the vision to hand, I'm able to respond more effectively when unexpectedly presented with a difficult question, difficult person or service provider. I can always finish a conversation by referring back to this document to back up my point. The process of creating a vision statement helped us focus in on Cameron's strengths and interests. It also created a safe environment to think about long-term goals and gave us the confidence to start working towards them. Getting to know our own son better was an unexpected benefit, which I hoped will continue as his vision evolves. So, thank you.